Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're going to start. I'm delighted to welcome you to today's session on Youth Driving Change, Global and Regional Water Strategies for Sustainable Agri-Food Systems. My name is Nasila Bukaria. I'm a water resources management consultant at FAO and honored to represent the FAO Land and Water Division here today. This event is organized by the Land and Water Youth Group of FAO and Blue Peace Middle East. FAO's mission is to achieve food security for all and make agriculture, forestry, and fisheries more productive and sustainable, while Blue Peace Middle East focuses on promoting water cooperation and sustainable water management across borders to foster peace and stability in the region. In our session, we aim to shine a light on how you are taking an active role in addressing some of the most pressing challenges and issues related to sustainable water management by introducing fresh perspectives and innovative solutions that are helping to transform agri-food systems in line with Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And through this event, we want to merge both regional and global perspectives to demonstrate how water resource management can be a powerful tool for change. We're excited to have you all with us and look forward to a fruitful and inspiring discussion. So we're going to start. We're going to move on to our first segment. We're pleased to have two youth speakers who will set the stage for today's discussions by exploring how agri-food systems are being transformed and highlight the critical role that water resource management play at both global and regional levels. First, we have Nathalie Dobler here from FAO. She's a junior professional officer working on water policy and governance in the Land and Water Division of FAO. Nathalie will introduce us to FAO's work on water and why these are important for achieving SDG 2 and other SDGs. She will then present preliminary results of a recent analysis on how water is integrated into national pathways for food system transformation, offering a global perspective on how sustainable water practices are shaping food systems worldwide. She will be joining us in person here. Next, online, we have Dania Al-Khafaji, who represents Blue Peace Middle East. Dania is a Chevening scholar and Cardiff University graduate. She serves as a youth ambassador for Blue Peace Middle East, where she tackles environmental challenges in the region. Dania will focus on enhancing agri-food systems through localized management, specifically highlighting the crucial role of river basin organization in sustainable water management. Let's welcome them both as they join us, as they share their insights. Welcome, Nathalie.
Thank you.
Hi, Dania.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction.
Thank you very much, Nasila, for this very nice introduction. I'm pleased to meet you all. My name is Nathalie Dobler. I work in the Land and Water Division of FAO, and I'm very pleased to present you with a brief overview on why water is so important for FAO's mandate of achieving zero hunger and food security for all, but also for all the other SDGs. And I'll present you with some preliminary results of a research that we have done in the youth group from the Land and Water Division in FAO on the integration of water in the national food systems pathways that were submitted by 116 countries in the background of the UN Food System Summit. But I'll come to this a bit later on. So, as you might already be aware, water is central for food production, of course. It's central for the whole food value chain, but it's also at the core to achieve the whole entire 2030 agenda. It's crucial for the achievement of different SDGs, as you see here on the screen, such as SDG 3, SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 1 on no poverty, etc. And so it's really at the core of the 2030 agenda, as well as food production. However, as you might already know as well, freshwater resources are depleting at an alarming rate. Currently, we are facing a triple crisis of water scarcity, drought and flood, and also decreasing levels of water quality. also impacted by agricultural productivities and production. So we have this one side of agriculture also being contributing to the depletion of these resources. But on the other hand, on a much more positive note, agriculture also holds critical solutions to tackle these manifold challenges that we are facing in the world. And so I'll quickly present you some facts and figures on agricultural water use. So agriculture accounts for around 70% of global freshwater withdrawals. And this makes agriculture the biggest water sector user globally. Global demand of freshwater resources is expected to increase by around 24% by 2050 under a sustainability scenario. This is due to population growth on the one hand, urbanization, but also changes in dietary patterns and other global trends. And so if we want to meet future demands of food and to ensure food security, while also safeguarding the already limited water resources, we need to come up with sustainable agricultural practices to really be able to have produce enough food for the future population, while also not causing negative effects on the environment and people. And so if we look at these several interlinkages of food and water, one could think, okay, well, this must be, since agriculture is responsible for 70% of freshwater withdrawals, this must be a fact that is very well reflected globally, right? When we look at policies on the national level, policy-making processes, but also on the global level. However, we have assessed the Water Action Agenda commitments. So that is, these are commitments that countries or organizations have submitted in the background of the UN 2023 Water Conference to really show what they are committing to, what actions they are committing to sustain water resources. And we have seen that in these commitments of, I think by now it's nearly 900 commitments, only 13% have mentioned food or agriculture in any way, which is a very small number, right? On the other hand, we could think, okay, well, if we look at agricultural policies, water must be in there, right? I mean, this is such a crucial factor for agriculture production. But also here, when we look at different agriculture policies on the national level, or we look into development strategies or NDCs, national adaptation plans, etc., we would expect to see a crucial mentioning of this link of water and food production. But this is also often not the case. And so this is really something that we in FAO are advocating for these integrated approaches and raising awareness on the crucial linkages of water and food for ensuring FAO's mandate and for ensuring food security in the future. And so this was the reason why in the youth group of the Land and Water Division, we have started a research analysis to assess how water is integrated in the national food system pathways. These are documents that countries have submitted in the background of the UN Food System Summit back in 2021 that demonstrate the plans of the different countries in how to achieving their food systems transformation towards more sustainable food systems. And so we have assessed these pathways, 116 by the time of the research as of July 2023. By now, there are some more, or countries have adjusted their pathways. This research is based on the state of arts of July 2023. And so we have assessed the terminology used in these pathways. So first of all, we did a very brief analysis on the terminology used on water, irrigation, and other water-related wordings in these pathways. And what you can see on your right-hand side on the screen is that only or 1/3 of the pathways did not include such terminology at all. So this, for us, really demonstrated a quite crucial water blindness, how we call it, in these pathways. So we wanted to dig a bit deeper into this analysis and did a second round of much more in-depth analysis by applying the qualitative document analysis methods and assessing 10 indicators of water resource management for agriculture, for food systems. with a ranking from 0 to 3. 0 meaning no integration at all, not reflected at all, and 3, very strong integration of water or related terminology or actions in the pathways. And so here the results are much more detailed. We have found 22 countries, again, out of 116, so it's not a huge figure, but still 22 countries explicitly acknowledge water resource management and water resources as pivotal for food systems transformation. 13 countries, on the other hand, have completely omitted water or water resource management or irrigation or anything related to that topic in their pathways. And 45 countries have not scored more than 1 on any of the indicators. So that also shows some integration, but very limited integration of water in the pathways. So this is to show you a bit more details about the analysis on the indicators used. So you see at the bottom of the screen the 10 indicators. And what we did see, despite this very striking water blindness of the pathways, is that the indicator that performed best, or that most countries performed best in, is the one on institutional coordination. And this, I think, is a very positive result to see that countries do realize that it's crucial to have this cross-sectoral integration of water and food in their pathways. And then we will close we're closing this policy brief with some policy recommendations on how countries can better integrate water in their food system transformation pathways, but also in other national policies. I will not go too much into detail on these because we're short of time. But for example, the one on adopting system thinking approaches, that's what I just mentioned, that it's crucial to look at water and agri-food systems from not a sectorial lens, but really from a cross-cutting, integrated lens or approaches to really assess the interlinkages and trade-offs of these two sectors. Another one, cross-sectoral coordination that I just mentioned, develop inclusive water governance systems. This is also a very crucial recommendation. We found some countries, for example, Sri Lanka, had suggested in its pathway a participatory management approach for irrigation system. So this really allows for local communities to participate actively in water governance and water management, which can then enhance much more coherent policies on the national level as well. It's crucial to also always consider and include ecosystems and their services into policy and planning. So to not just come up with maybe more efficient irrigation infrastructures that could then harm the environment, but to really take into account these ecosystem services as well. For example, regenerative agriculture was one topic that is quite crucial to the Namibian pathway, for example. And last but not least, improving water management practices beyond water use efficiency. So water use efficiency is a very commonly known approach to have more crop per drop, so to say. But also here, it's crucial to also look at other sources of water that we could use. And for example, the Hungary pathway that has demonstrated a lot on tools or approaches they are applying to actually use wastewater for agriculture. So this is also a very promising way to go. This policy brief will be published hopefully by the end of this year. So stay tuned for more details on this. And with this global overview on the interlinkages of water and food, why it is important and what nations are doing already, I would like to hand over to Danya now for the more regional and local perspectives. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Natalie, for this insightful information and insight into the forward when it comes to national effort into water management. My name is Daniel Khafaji, and I'm honored to present Blue Beast Middle East Youth as a youth ambassador. Today, I'll provide the regional perspective when we talk about exploring challenges and innovative solutions for managing water, but also transboundary water resources, which is critical for sustainable agri-food system, especially in areas like the Middle East, where it's an arid region that is prone to conflict and have majority of its water resources shared between multiple countries that goes beyond their own political borders. So as we focus on this year's World Food Forum theme, which is good for all, good food for all for today and tomorrow, it is clear that sustainable water management in transboundary region is essential to achieve this vision, particularly in area with shared water resources. So before talking about the concept of regionalizing water government, let's take a look into some of the main challenges that we face as youth from countries that have shared water resources that we have looked into specifically within our initiative. Some of the main issue that we face is the lack of coordination among countries. So while global framework like the FAO National Water Roadmap is vital for managing water resources, implementing these strategies in countries that have shared water resources can be a bit difficult. So countries that share water resources often have different priorities. For example, some upstream countries might focus on hydropower generation, while downstream country might be more interested in saving this water for agriculture needs. There is also the difference in legal and policy between each countries. Each country operates under different water law and policy, making it a bit difficult to harmonize these efforts across border. There's also the issue of sovereignty concern, further complicating the regional cooperation. We also have witnessed issues when it comes to data sharing and transparency within these shared water resources, which can often affect the water management that rely on reliable data. And there is also the environmental variability within these same watersheds. So climate change impact water availability unevenly across these countries, which can intensify competition over scarce water resources. And also there is capacity asymmetries between majority of the countries that share water resources, because some countries might possess stronger technical and institutional capacity than other, making joint water management a bit challenging. Now looking at the regionalizing concept, when it comes to water government, specifically within the frame of the FAO water map. So to address this challenge, we need to translate global strategies into regional solution. And one of the most effective ways that we have witnessed when it comes to that is through River Basin Organization, RBO, and also through regional cooperating platforms similar to the one we have at the Blue Beast Middle East, which can allow countries to share water resource, collaborate on sustainable water management, and other development aspects. And if you look globally, there has been several successful initiatives when it comes to river basin organization that help multiple countries that share similar like clean water resources into collaborating. For example, there is the Nile Basin Initiative, which support cooperation among 11 African nations, benefiting over 40 million people that share the Nile River Basin. And there is the Mekong River Commission that supports 60 million people that rely on the river for agriculture activities. These commission or initiatives that represent the RBO help into strengthening legal framework when it comes to water sharing between multiple countries, but also enhance data transparency among these countries and facilitate addressing environmental impact and climate adaptation that come into managing these water resources, especially when using them for agriculture activities. There is also regional initiative similar to like the one we have in as a Blue Beast Middle East. The role we play into water government and agri-food system is that we work on to strengthening regional dialogue and technical cooperation among member countries like Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, and Turkey. And our goal is to transform water from a source of conflict into a tool of sustainable development. We have done the youth fellowship, which I was a part of. We have done regional dialogue enhancement between the country. Also, we have the Wi-Fi Nexus program, which is central to this effort because it's focusing on scalable pilot project that can connect water, energy, food, and ecosystem together. For example, through the first fellowship cohort that I was part of, we created and developed a Wi-Fi pilot project proposed tailored to Iraq need and will be implemented by the whole initiative of the Blue Beast starting January 2025. which focus on improving agri-food system and water use efficiency by introducing efficient irrigation techniques to reduce water pumping from transboundary and underground water resources, while also reducing energy consumption by relying on renewable energy and improving the socioeconomic state and food security by increasing crop yield while imbalancing water need in agricultural system. This all show how regional framework can cooperate with the global water government in a way that can directly benefit the agri-food system. At Blue Peace Middle East, we embrace the WFF Nexus approach to address these issues, especially in the Middle East River Basin, looking to issue at a holistic perspective, highlighting the interdependency between water, energy, food, and ecosystem. We can develop sustainable agri-food system, ensuring that water resources are used efficiently while also protecting the ecosystem and supporting food production. This demonstrates how global strategies like food roadmap can be adopted into regional realities. To close off some policy recommendation and conclusion. So moving forward, there are some key recommendations that we can emphasize, especially when it comes to regional initiative and national agency working together. One of them is strengthening the regional leadership role. So RBOs, Blue Peace Middle East, these type of initiatives and organizations should be taking the lead into managing shared water resources as these organizations understand the local context. However, there is also a strong need for support from national government and international agencies. There is also the role for integrating regional cooperation into national plans. So national agencies should be incorporating regional water government framework into their national water roadmap. The FO can, for example, facilitate dialogue between national government and regional bodies and ensure that transboundary water management is always prioritized. Also promoting shared investment regional water project can help. We can focus on multi-layer investment that support regional initiatives and help coordinate funding for projects that involve multiple countries, ensuring equitable benefit for all. And in conclusion, while the global framework like the FAO roadmap provide a foundation, there is still a need for strong regional cooperation across countries. At Blue Peace Middle East, we are committed to translating global goals into local action that can benefit the agri-food system. I look forward further for the hearing about the discussion from the panels, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dania, and thank you, Natalie, for your presentations. If ever you have questions about those parts, I will just ask you to keep them as we have Q&A sessions at the end of the event. And for now, we'll go to the main part of our session, which is the panel discussion, where we'll dive deeper into the critical role of youth in water resources management and agri-food systems. So allow me to introduce our panelists. First, we have Berker Kan Ece, who is a Turkish youth ambassador of Blue Peace Middle East. He is a graduate from MEF University with a double major in political science and international relations and law. Berker's diplomatic prowess shines through his active participation in model UN conferences and the Antalya Diplomacy Forum. Then we have Hiba Mohammed, who is a Syrian youth ambassador of Blue Peace Middle East. Hiba is a PhD candidate at the University of Brescia, Italy, and researches drought impacts on transboundary river basins. She also coordinates the Mediterranean Youth Task Force of FAO. Then we have here on site George Akoko from FAO, who is a water management consultant in FAO's Land and Water Division, where he supports project implementation, proposal development, and drafts and reviews technical documents related to agriculture and natural resource management. He has a doctorate in agricultural and environmental engineering. And last but not least, we have Robin Wu, who is a food and nutritionist specialist from the Food and Nutrition Division. He supports mainstream nutrition into different sectors, including water, and has experience in project implementation in 6 countries on nutrition-sensitive agricultural extension. He's supporting the COP flagship ICANN initiative on climate action and nutrition. Robin is a trained food scientist with a bachelor's and master's in food science and technology. We will hear from each of our panelists here online and on-site about their experiences and insight on the youth's role in sustainable water management. So we're going to start with a question for Berker. So Berker, from your perspective, from working with Blue Peace Middle East, what do you see as the most significant role youth can play in transforming water management practices in the Middle East?
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here today representing Blue Peace Middle East and to share my perspectives on the critical role youth can play in transforming water management practices in our region. The Middle East faces unique challenges when it comes to water, challenges that require new thinking and bold action. This is where youth can step in, not just as the leaders of tomorrow, but as active change makers today. From my experience working with Blue Peace Middle East, I've seen that the most significant contribution youth can make is through driving innovation. Young people are not bound by outdated methods. Instead, we bring fresh perspectives that allow us reimagine water management. Whether through the adoption of new technologies, such as water-saving tools in agriculture, or promoting decentralized, localized water management systems, youth are pushing for solutions that reflect the realities on the ground. Our generation is also adept at integrating broader strategies like the water energy food ecosystem nexus, as we say WFF nexus, into practical solutions. We understand that addressing water challenges requires a holistic approach, connecting the dots between sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and resource conservation. But innovation isn't enough on its own. Youth also have a unique capacity to be powerful advocates for water diplomacy and regional cooperation. I've witnessed throughout my experiences the importance of cross-border collaboration, especially in a region like the Middle East, where water resources are often shared. Through platforms like Blue Peace Middle East, young leaders can help foster dialogue between countries, shifting the focus from competition over water to cooperation. We can engage not only policymakers, but also local communities, ensuring the water diplomacy becomes a grassroots movement with people at every level invested in sustainable solutions. What is truly inspiring is the way youth can lead by example. We don't just talk about solutions, we implement them. Across the region, youth-led initiatives are tackling water scarcity head-on. Whether it's small-scale water harvesting projects or community awareness campaigns, these efforts are making a tangible difference. I've seen how these localized actions can have a ripple effect, influencing larger strategies and policy decisions. So in closing, I believe youth in the Middle East have an extraordinary opportunity and responsibility to transform how we manage our water resources through innovation, advocacy, and action. We can ensure that the water becomes a source of peace and prosperity in our region, rather than conflict. We are not just the future of water management, we are its present. Together we can lead the way toward a more sustainable and cooperative future for our region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Berker. I'm going to ask now the next question to George Akoko, our colleague from FAO. So George, I was wondering if you could share some of your example of youth-led initiatives that have made basically substantial impact on the water management within agri-food systems.
Thank you, Nasila, and thank you all for joining us today. Good question. I'll start by echoing the sentiments of Baker. Yes, indeed, youth do bring innovative solutions and to energize this agriculture sector with modern approaches. FAO, I'm sure we have plenty of examples. I'll just highlight briefly two. So there's the Green Savers Association, which is being run in Dhaka, Bangladesh, founded in 2010 and really pushes for urban ecosystems and urban gardening. They have established over 3,600 urban gardens. This is as at 2010. And I believe as at now, they have increased the space of this. So this is a good example of youth pushing the impact and the agri-food systems sector. And one salient feature about this association is they've really engaged in discussions and knowledge sharing experiences. They have a monthly program called, I hope if there's a Bangladeshi speaker here can correct me, it's called the Krishi Path. I hope I pronounced it correctly. So it's a good way to see how at the local and urban level, doesn't have to necessarily be out in the field or in the farms, but also in urban settings, they can drive this agenda. Another example would be in Mexico. Spanish speakers. I think I see one or two. El Camino Micro Agrosistema. It's pushing youth to set up agro-ecosystem farms to drive both nutrition and economic outcomes at an early stage. And through this, they can build on their experiences and share with the other youth across other areas. So for more examples of these and other FAO-led projects, initiatives with partners such as International Water Management Institute, I'll share a link in the chat. But for participants here, I think this is one of the times we'll allow you to take out your phones. The publication is a compilation of youth initiatives in agriculture to address impacts of climate change. It's a 2020 FAO publication with a wealth of information on this. So key point on this, yes, youth can drive these impacts in agriculture for both nutritional outcomes, economic outcomes, and also supporting the larger society. Thank you, Nasila.
Thanks a lot, George, for these examples. If we go back to our colleagues online from Blue Peace Middle East, I would like to ask Hiba, as a youth ambassador, how do you believe that youth can engage and contribute to achieving sustainable agri-food systems in countries facing water scarcity? For example, if we take Syria. So yeah, how do you think youth can contribute to that?
Thank you for the question, and it's an honor to be here discussing this critical topic. As a youth ambassador of the Blue Peace Middle East and someone deeply engaged in addressing the water challenges in regions like Syria, I firmly believe that youth engagement plays a pivotal role in achieving sustainable agri-food system, especially in water-scarce areas like the Middle East. Young people are in a unique position to bring in fresh ideas and adopt innovative technologies like precision irrigation and advanced water management tools, which can really optimize how we use water and agriculture. But it's not just about using tech. Youth also play a big role as advocates. They are raising awareness about sustainable practices and pushing for changes in policy, whether it's through social media or community projects. They are spreading the message about the importance of conserving water. Plus, there is a real opportunity for youth to drive entrepreneurship and startups in this space by starting agri businesses that focuses on water efficiency. They are not only creating jobs, but also helping to solve the bigger challenges we face around water, energy, and food in general. The energy of the youth and the innovative mindset of them are exactly what is needed to move towards a more sustainable future in the agriculture in the Middle East and especially in Syria.
Thank you very much, Hiba, for the motivation. And I do, think that youth can play really a critical role in this as well. And if we go back to our colleagues here who are present with us, Robin, as a youth representative from FAO, what do you think are the key challenges that young people face when they're trying to participate in integrated water resource management?
Thank you. I'd like to start with thank Land and Water Division and also Blue Peace, other partners for inviting me. I'm not from water community, I'm from nutrition community. So, and I think it's really, I'm trying to bring something, integrate nutrition in water as well. So, and I'm actually a bit cold here. So I prepare a warm-up question for everyone. I would like to draw attention to the rule over there. I think it's actually prepared by my division, a food and nutrition division. You see, there's a saying about healthy diet and how important for sustainable agri-food system. I'd like to ask you, yes and no question, okay? Is water part of healthy diet? Yes, please raise your hand. No, oh, no, I mean, yes, raise your hand. No, just say, okay. Okay, great. Great. Okay, I think I got 99%. And you are right, water is part of the healthy diet and integrated in most of the country's national dietary guidelines. So without water, there's no healthy diet, there's no nutrition, first. Second, I think there's also mention about hygiene. Water is also health. Like you need to wash your hand, hygiene, sanitation, so it's very important. thirdly, I think, Natalie, you mentioned very quickly during your presentation about the potential harm. If you work on an irrigation management, probably there's a risk harm for the ecosystem. Also, there's a risk to harm nutrition as well. We have in nutrition world, we have a very famous example, like how you carelessly work on a water management project that might increase the mosquito or other zoonotic disease transmission. So that harm your health and nutrition. So yeah, so sorry, and I will back to my question very quickly. I just want to say something like, how water and nutrition are so closely linked. And the question asked me about the challenges youth face to participate in the integrated water management projects. Well, I'll prepare a few examples, but I think I just want to say one at this moment. As I work in that field, I realized that probably there's many projects we targeting women, gender, gender mainstreaming is very well recognized, but I feel like it's still, there's a space for improvement targeting youth. Like, I don't know, like you are all water practitioners, work on the ground. So are your project really targeting youth as integrated as a beneficiary as well as a game changer? So that's probably when I see from my perspective, many of the projects from our side is not that really targeting youth. I'll give you one example. I work on this called nutrition sensitive agriculture extension, also water management project, and we implement in many countries. In India, we have a quick assessment. We did not do this, really targeting youth, but we have this category like junior extension workers, water and agriculture extension workers, and senior workers. And the result seems like always youth or junior ones are they're more accepted with the integrated approach. They're more open to new ideas and more willing to bring new changes to the community. So I think that's really and then realize, for me, it's a really, really great reminder for me to, okay, if there's a for future projects, youth should be definitely targeted. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Robin. So now we're going to do a second round of question. And for this second round, we would like to focus more on the barriers that we would face, that youth would face with the challenge of managing water. And so if I go back to Berker online, Berker, I was wondering if you give us some examples of the barriers that youth could face when trying to actively participate in water management policies and practices, and if there are strategies that you would suggest to help address these barriers effectively.
Yes. One of the most significant challenges facing youth in the realm of water management is the limited access to the actual decision-making process. In many cases, youth are perceived as supporters or advocates rather than active participants in policy information. Particularly in the Middle East, where formal high-level diplomatic negotiations, Turk-1 diplomacy, largely dominate discussions, young people are often excluded from the rooms where the most critical water-related or nature-related decisions are made. This exclusion limits our ability to contribute to shaping sustainable policies that address regions' growing water challenges. Beyond access to decision-making platforms, this is also a clear gap in resources and infrastructure that support youth involvement in water management. Water policy is inherently technical, involving a deep understanding of hydrology, governance structures, and cross-border cooperation. For many young people, the lack of access to key data, technological tools, and financial resources presents a significant barrier to turning ideas into tangible solutions. I've seen firsthand, through my work with the Blue Peace Middle East, how young people are full of ideas that could transform water practices in the region, but without a sufficient mentorship, funding, or the tools to navigate complex bureaucratic structures. Their potential remains untapped. To truly address the barriers we face, we need to focus on two key strategies. First, we must institutionalize the role of youth in track 1.5 and track 2 diplomacy, creating formalized pathways for young professionals to engage in these diplomatic processes would ensure that youth aren't just observers, but co-creators of policies that directly affect their futures. This means designing cross-border water management initiatives that are youth-led and fully integrated into broader diplomatic efforts, ensuring that youth contributions aren't seen as optional but necessary for the long-term sustainability of these initiatives. Secondly, we need to invest in the capacity building of youth in a meaningful way. It's enough to invite youth to table. We must also equip them with knowledge, technical skills, and financial support they need to turn discussions into action. Establishing specialized training programs, particularly around water diplomacy, governance, and new technologies, can empower young leaders to approach water management with both expertise and confidence. Moreover, targeted funding mechanism must be put in place to support youth-led water initiatives, ensuring that great ideas have the financial backing to become impactful projects. The other critical youth can play is in the fostering cross-border cooperation. Through track 2 diplomacy, which often engages with non-governmental stakeholders, youth can facilitate regional dialogues on shared water resources. This is especially crucial in a region like the Middle East, where water scarcity often transcends national borders, requiring regional solutions. Our generation is uniquely positioned to build bridges between communities, using these informal diplomatic channels to promote trust and cooperation where traditional, former diplomacy might struggle to find common ground. In conclusion, the barriers to youth participation in water management may be substantial, but they are far from insurmountable. By embracing the opportunities provided by track 1.5 and 2 diplomacy, and by investing the resources, training, and platform necessary to empower young leaders, we can ensure that youth become key drivers in transforming water policies and practices. Together, we can shape a future where water is not just a source of survival, but a foundation for peace and regional cooperation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Berker. As time is running very fast, if we can just, briefly respond to the next questions. Basically, if I come back to you, George, and considering FAO's global reach, how do you think international organizations can better support youth in driving change for sustainable water practices and agri-food systems? Agri-food transformation, sorry.
Thank you, Nasila. I think this will be the last time we ask you to either raise your hand or not, unless Robin will have other workout ideas. How many of us have been involved in agriculture? Planting, seeding, farming, growing? Okay, so a good 80-ish%. So international organizations are trying to engage people across all divides, in the digital platform, in the fields, and also in the professional sector. So I'll try to quickly reply by focusing on 3 areas: on the actual youth individual, in the immediate environment, and in the larger environment. So for the actual individual, I think there's a very big component needed for enhancement on capacity building and to access mainly financial resources needed to scale and implement the ideas. It's good to acknowledge ongoing examples. FAO, UNIDO, and the Africa Union Commission are currently leading on opportunities for youth in Africa, where young farmers are given these opportunities through funding and training on sustainable agricultural practices. In the immediate environment, this would extend to leadership, opportunities, and mentorship. A good example is World Food Forum, which is given a big platform for some youth to showcase their ideas and network and interact. Also, noting a good example is the Africa Youth Agripreneurs Platform, again supported by FAO and the East African Farmer Federation. I would also encourage us to please feel free to use your phones and put in the chat any other good examples which you may have. And through this, we can promote networking and sharing ideas on how this has been implemented. In the larger environment, I believe creating inclusive policy frameworks is very, very important. We cannot work in isolation, so it's good for collaboration and cross-sectors, stakeholders to advocate for youth inclusion in decision-making processes. Key example will be the UNDP in their program on youth engagement in the 2030 agenda. FAO is also involved in this. So national government can engage youth to create this enabling environment to implement these ideas. So in the interest of time, I see Mr. Timekeeper is harsh on me. I'll end there, and I'll encourage us to let's keep interacting in the chat. Thank you, Nasila.
Thank you very much, George. I'm going to go back to Hiba to ask you, as a youth ambassador, where is my question? Yeah, building as a youth leader, could you share an example of innovative youth-driven solution that has effectively contributed to sustainable water management in agri-food systems? If you could just like briefly give us examples. Thank you.
Thank you again. And I will not ask you to raise your hand or answer any questions. I will go directly to the two examples that I have. One great example of the youth engagement in sustainable agriculture is the NAPTA program by the FAO in Syria. NAPTA is the Arabic word for plant in English. This program helps young agripreneurs in Syria build businesses focused on sustainable farming. Through training in business development and innovative agriculture techniques, the young farmers learn how to optimize water use and improve water security, which is a big deal in regions struggling with water scarcity. And by promoting climate smart agriculture and providing grants, NAPTA is giving young people the tools to create sustainable livelihood while tackling serious environmental challenges. Another initiative is the Syrian Youth Parliament for Water, which brings together young leaders to raise awareness and push for better water management. They are focusing on education and research to drive youth-led policies and actions that can help solve Syria's water crisis. These programs show how youth-led initiatives are making a real difference in Syria, helping to build more resilient agri-food systems and address water scarcity. But here is the thing, it's not enough to just celebrate their contributions. We need to involve young people in decision-making at every level, whether it's policy making or community planning. If they are the future of agriculture and farming in water-scarce regions, so why aren't they part of the conversation even when decisions are being made? This lies at the heart of the Blue Peas Middle East initiative, to stop just showcasing youth and start empowering them to lead the way forward. Their potential to solve the water crisis and create resilient agriculture system is huge if we give them the opportunity to lead. This is in short.
Thanks a lot, Hiba. I just have one last question for Robin. So Robin, we were wondering how you would see youth contributing to integrated water management practices that align with climate change adaptation.
Thank you.
In agri-food systems.
Yeah, I will be very quick. I also have one example very quick, but I really wish to share with you, like showing how easy and how useful that you can consider nutrition in your integrated water management project, and that definitely can help our climate and environment. So the project, the short name is called Awesome, the initiative, and it stands for Addressing Water Scarcity for Agriculture and Environment. It's led by one of my ex-colleague, Felicitas, very young, talented colleagues who has a background on nutrition and working on this project. So basically is promoting the aqua crop, like the crop, the resilience to climate, water scarcity, and improve food security, of course. But what she is doing here is like there is to really bringing a nutrition lens. We need also to consider a nutritious crop. And instead of importing an external crop, we also need to consider an indigenous crop, like the rich local genetic source as well. So that's, I think that's a very good example for me now, like to really think how we talk about better, like addressing water scarcity through crop production, but with a nutrition angle. And second, I think this is not the only one. This morning I was in the policy and deliberation challenge. I don't know if you're there. There's a section on also on water, and I heard very good examples. Also like utilizing data for crop selection. water scarcity and also nutritious value and also the biodiversity. So I think really like you's really inspiring us for all those different examples, like showing how it can benefit to water management, nutrition, climate mitigation, etc. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Robin. So that closes the panel's discussion of our session. We can now open the floor to some questions. I don't think we have time to a lot of questions, but if ever you have questions either here or online, it is possible to take them. Yes?
Thank you very much. I'm Virginia Lanfredi, junior economist for USA division. I have a question, maybe for Nathalie, but also Dania. And so from your viewpoint, are the regions that are most affected by climate change also the ones that are leading coordination efforts towards it? So I guess it would be very interesting to analyze whether this sense of urgency of climate change can foster collaboration efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this question. It's actually a very relevant question, and we digged into that as well in our analysis. So we were looking at regions that are most affected by water scarcity, comparing their water stress levels with how they performed in these national pathways. And there are some countries that are severely affected by water scarcity and water stress, and they do indeed perform better in the pathways. But it's not true for all of them. So it's still, we have preliminary results, so we would need to dig deeper into that, I think. We cannot generalize that all the countries affected by water scarcity are actually performing better or like including water better in their pathways. But it's definitely, this is definitely an important result, I think, to really bring together this or to stress the importance of the data that is there. We have, for example, Aquastat here in FAO that analyzes all these data. So the data is there, and to maybe raise the awareness as well from our side, from FAO, that countries can really use this data as well for food system pathways. So not just for policies that are obviously related to water, but really also for other strategies and plans. Yeah, thank you. I don't know if Dania online wants to intervene as well.
Yes, thank you for the question, and thank you, Nathalie, for your answer. For me, I guess I will just provide the perspective as someone from the Middle East who have worked closely on environmental issues. Specifically in my country, Iraq, I don't think that's necessarily the case. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, the countries that are most affected by climate change are third world countries. So there is a variety in the level of responses and preparedness and willingness to cooperate when it comes to being more involved into bettering their, resilience level. And I don't think this is the case very much for Iraq. There is lack of awareness when it comes to the general public, but also there is a lack of infrastructure that are ready to be resilient when it comes to climate change and water issues. And that's also need to be addressed when it comes to the role of international players that are majority of the funders for these three third nation countries, of how like we can create better policies while giving funding and help them become more resilient when it comes to climate change.
Thank you very much, Dania, and thank you very much, Nathalie, and for the question. Do we have, another question? Yes. I'm not sure who raised his hand first, but maybe you could go. Yeah.
So my name is Torben. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm part of a Dutch political youth organization as well. I also had a question for Nathalie, because you touched upon reducing water use, and I was wondering what the role of the protein transition in this is, according to you. So from animal proteins towards plant-based proteins, as we know that animal agriculture is more wasteful, uses many times more water, and that growing crops directly for human consumption is more efficient. So what's your take on this, and how's the conversation about this at the FAO going?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. So I'm not a technical specialist on proteins or nutrition, so I guess I can there again rely on our cross-sectoral collaboration that is present in this panel. But I think it's definitely so. What is important is to really assess the water use of different types of protein, and FAO is doing that. We're doing this data analysis on water use efficiency as well for nutrition, and maybe to come back on the pathways that I was mentioning. So some countries are explicitly looking into these interlinkages of not only looking on the yield, so how much food is produced with a certain amount of water, but really on the nutritional values of that food as well. So I think that is really something that is very promising to look into more in depth, and not only looking at the water footprint in terms of yields, but really also in terms of nutritional components. Maybe Robin would like to elaborate a bit more on that.
Very quickly, Natalie, actually, you did very, very good job on that. So I think FAO is like actually reviewing all the evidence regarding, plant-based food. And I would definitely encourage you to join also right after the transformative challenge. There's a plant-based food prize, and our director will definitely share better information than me. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your question. I am not sure we would have time for another one unless it's short. But I can invite you also to, if the questions are directed to the panelists here, you can also, maybe at the end ask them your question, and maybe they will be happy to answer. So yeah, since we are nearing the end of the session, I would like to invite my colleague Muntasser Al-Kalimi to maybe, if he's ready to say his concluding remarks.
Yes, thank you, Nasila. Good afternoon, everyone. It has been an incredibly enriching session, and I want to extend my gratitude to our speakers and all of you for your engagement today. As we come to the end of this session, we are reminded of the fundamental role water plays in transforming our agri-food systems and achieving sustainable development. We have seen today how youth are not just beneficiaries, but critical drivers of change in sustainable water management. Youth engagement is central to tackling global water challenges, especially in regions where water is shared and often contested resource, like the Middle East. We must actively integrate young people into decision-making processes, providing them with the resources, skills, and platforms they need to shape sustainable future. If we are serious about achieving sustainable development goals, youth must be at the heart of these transformations. Today, we have seen how the FAO's national water roadmaps provide strategic direction, while regional organizations and youth initiatives bring these strategies to life at ground level. And the work of Blue Peace Middle East, with its coordination office hosted by NWARDAM, exemplifies how regional cooperation can transform water from potential source of conflict into a tool for peace and development. Water flows across borders, and the challenges that come with it, like scarcity, pollution, and the impacts of climate change, also know no borders. If these challenges are shared, so too must be the solutions. I urge everyone here to maintain this momentum. Let's take the ideas shared today and turn them into action. Engage actively in water management initiatives, seek out opportunities for cross-border collaboration, and continue to innovate for sustainable agri-food systems. On behalf of Blue Peace Middle East Initiative and our partners at FAO, thank you once again for your participation in this crucial dialogue. Together, we can ensure that water becomes a source of peace, sustainability, and prosperity for all. As we conclude, let us remember that our work in water management is not just about resource efficiency, but about ensuring a human dignity and rights, particularly in regions facing severe water scarcity and humanitarian challenges. Have a wonderful rest of your day and let's continue to work towards a water secure future for generations to come. And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Montasser. Thank you to everyone who came here for our event, and thanks to our panelists again and our speakers. So yeah, if ever you want to ask your question, maybe you'll be able to. Thank you. Oh, and yeah, if you want to just raise your hand the last time to wave goodbye, just.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Recording stopped.